If we're individualized expressions of the all that is, God experiencing God's self through the limited ego 3D meat suit of a body in a material reality, then there's no difference truly between the sacred and profane, because it's all God coming to know more of God's self. And these insights come from my reflections on the Gnostic lost gospel of Mary Magdalene. Thank you for tuning in to today's transmission of the Ministry of Assumption Absolute. Ministry transmissions are intended to provide you with insights on expanding and elevating your awareness to live the life that you desire. Conscious creation, identity alchemy, spiritual epidemiology. I am your self-sovereignty mentor and host of the Ministry of Assumption Absolute. My name is Lucien Francois Mateo St. James, and there's a lot less difference between what we think to be mundane and what we think to be extraordinary. There are no such things as big and small manifestations. And today's ministry message is going to be a sermon based on one of my favorite songs, because I believe that poetry, that art, that everything around us, again, is revealing source to us, as us, through us. The message is everywhere. I have entire sermons in my head that are based on song lyrics, so we're going to start getting some of those in the ministry. And today's message is based on Everybody Wants to Rule the World, released in 1985 on the album Songs from a Big Chair from Tears for Fears. We got a chair there. I was really proud of that chair because I'm not a very good whiteboard artist. So from Songs of the Big Chair, reality, the secrets of reality creation, like, it's not on this channel. It's not in a Neville Goddard book. You are a manifestation. The secret is hidden in plain damn sight. The secret is everywhere. The secret of creation are in the merging of a sperm and an egg and the creation of a person. Because what is that the manifestation of on a material level? Masculine and feminine energies, the penetration and the womb of a void space, a gestation period, and then creation. That's all that's happening here. Your state as the penetration, the womb space as the world, as all that can be possible, the gestation period being your persistence, and the creation being the materialization. Like, it's all holy. It's all, like, none of it's separate from any one thing. It's all a part of the whole, the dark and the light. And obviously we like to say that the dark is unholy, but the darkness is a part of all that can be. So whether you want to call it sacred or not, that's up to you, but it is a part. There's no way to separate, oh, these things are a part of a valid reality. These are the things that I can affirm, and these things over here, no, they don't deserve to be affirmed. Like, that's why in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, Jesus says that there is no sin. there is no sin, but there is an idea, and this is me interpreting and paraphrasing, but there is the idea of separation. And that separation, that idea of separation, the idea that I need to take from a whole, that's what the sin is. So I find messages everywhere. Tears for Fears for me is nonetheless inspiring and revealing than Tears for Fears. It's not. Neville Goddard, Tears for Fears, the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, all of it is showing you how to apply the understandings of these insights to elevate and expand your awareness so you can direct your life, because that is my fundamental belief, knowledge, understanding, that nobody needs to teach you to manifest. You are a manifestation. You're manifesting whether you're intending to, whether you're consciously creating or not. However, the teachings are there to assist you in directing the flow of your attention to directly embody a state as the source, as the creator. So you're not getting, I've heard Pete Sapper talk about it this way. Oh, so you're not getting ragdolled by reality. And I really like that visual imagery there. So you're not getting just yanked around and thrown around by all these 3D circumstances that you're creating, at least at a previous state that you have occupied has created, and then wondering why is it all happening, feeling victim to you, like you're victim to yourself, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying, oh, okay, screw you, you're victim to yourself. Like, knowing that, like, you are the creation, the created, and the act of creation itself. So looking at this beautiful poetry, this transmission, this interpretive insight of, well, how do we direct that flow from everybody wants to rule the world? Isn't that a statement in and of itself? And it was a statement. It was a political statement. It did have a meaning and a background and intention as to what they meant. I'm not really talking about it from that lens and thinking about that everybody wants to rule the world. So let's look at that title. You've got the media, you got your parents, you got your inherited genome, you got your society, your culture, your ethnicity, your gender, you have your boss at work, or if you have a lack of a boss, if you're not working, then you probably have ideas about that. There are all these ideas in the matrix, in the 3D reality, telling you how to think about yourself, what to feel. I had a really powerful message. So, I mean, I've had many businesses, and I've nuked many businesses because once I elevated past a certain understanding, I then was like, well, all of those teachings are no longer valid. I gotta press delete on that. But there's one really powerful message I had about how everybody wants to put their initials on your chains. Everybody is trying to get their insignia on your enslavement, to get you to co-sign on an identity that they give you. So everybody wants to rule the world, to rule your world, because you can't sell something to somebody who already feels whole and complete. You're not going to take crap from some person that doesn't deserve your attention if you know that you're the source of the love that you seek. I mean, if you know that you're the source, that's what I'm saying. For the ministry ideology is that the afterlife is here now, and not only the afterlife. Because I've lived in a hell realm. I mean, there was a period of time where I was like freaking certain I was in a hell realm. I literally was like, here's the thing. Here's actually a very cool manifestation of how the fact that we are always creating our reality. So, and this is like really kind of a prized possession of mine. Not that I affirm this anymore, but Erie Embraces Coffee Peculiar Purgatory Blend. From the Devil James cult. I got this, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 3 years ago. And my then wife brought it back from work. And she told me that this man, and she didn't really know what to make of it. And I had been going through a very, very tough time within myself, a very tough time with her, and just in my reality. And it was just horrific. Without getting into details and describing the how and the why, I was in a very, very, very negative state. And it had been a negative state that had been carrying for a very long time, due to conclusions I had about my power, about reality. It was right around this time I was waking up to spiritual, because I was doing mindset work. So I was teaching mindset work, and I stopped teaching mindset work because I was like, I'm not in a good state. But I was still working in the field of mental wellness in different capacities. And she came home with that. And she was like, what a strange event. She was like, this guy that was unhoused and was hanging around and apparently was an artist of some sort. And around this time, I really was like kind of getting into things, but I was definitely in the darker side of things. So I really, truly believed at that point in time, I was like, I think I'm in hell. Like, I think I was dealing with some witchcraft too at that point in time. I was just kind of waking up to like the idea that we can influence this, like beyond mindset, beyond behavior. Because I had done all that. I had done the stuff. I read the books. I was an expert. I could have told you, this author said this theory says that. I'm grounded, educated in a lot of psychological methodologies of quote unquote healing. So, on a conceptual basis, like I had you, but I was starting to dip my toe into the spiritual world and trying to figure out, well, how is it, if we can influence the world, what does that look like? And I was into some witchcraft at that point in time. And she comes home and she says that this guy was unhoused, and he was she said he did have kind of a strange vibration. He was walking around. He didn't have a strange vibration because he was unhoused, but he just, his intention seemed kind of ambiguous. And she was the receiving person of her office at that point in time. And everybody else, due to stigma in the area, was like, oh my gosh, an unhoused person, he's dangerous, he's, oh gosh, all this discriminatory bullshit. And she was like, I just talked to him. He just came in and wanted to speak to me, and not her directly, but wanted to talk to just somebody. And again, the whole situation was very strange, but then he, it pulls that out of, I guess, a bag of different, this is her story. This is how it arrived to me, out of this bag of different paintings that he had. And he said, this is for you. And she comes home to me with this, and this is while I'm kind of starting to get it. I'm thinking, I'm looking at my childhood, and I'm thinking about the stuff that's happening. And I'm like, you know what? And I'm kind of dipping my toe in witchcraft, and I'm like, maybe I need to do a spell removal or something. And I was like, no, this feels deeper than a fucking spell. I was just thinking, I'm in curse. I'm cursed. I think I'm in hell. I've had hellish experiences. I grew up and my sister was literally demonically possessed. And again, I'm not going to go into that, but it's just I've had these experiences where I'm I don't think, and here's the thing, I'm so glad that I arrived at that, because that was the first realization that, this whole, okay, you're going to die and go away somewhere, you have to go, it's all here. Everything is happening now, from the highest vibration to the lowest vibration. It's all available to you now. It's all happening now. So this is my first tuning to parallel realities as well. And she brings this to me, and I'm waking up to the fact that I think I'm in, I'm normal. It's normal that I'm surrounded with individuals that seem to be, I'm not saying that they are, in my heart, I feel like they are, but, seem to be fragmented, seem to be demonically possessed. And here's the thing, I was seeing myself. It seemed as though I was outside of all of it. But it had to be me, because they were part of my awareness. So that's what I'm saying. Nobody needs to teach you to manifest. Nobody needs to teach you to manifest. Bullshit you see in your life, it's you. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. It blows my mind. Not that I ever would continue to assign to myself that I'm living in a peculiar purgatory, but I'm just waking up to this stuff, and she brings it home to me, and I'm like, oh my God. All of life is a manifestation, but that was the very first time. So anyway, through this strange man with ambiguous intent, doesn't need anything that has to do with the job that she's working, walks in, hands her this weird ass painting while I'm waking up to witchcraft, magic, and the fact that we can actually influence our world, by way of the mind, and not just by way of the doing or by way of the, freaking whatever framework. And then she comes home, right around that time, she comes home with a painting that says Peculiar Purgatory in the Devil James cult. So that's one of my prized possessions, because that was the moment I was like, oh, I'm doing this. It's true because I believe it's true, not because I am quite literally in a purgatory. I'm in a purgatory because I'm in it. My state of consciousness is in it. I literally believed I was in this state between living and dead. Other people are, I don't know, I guess living life and doing the world, but the shit I was experiencing, the shit I was seeing, just crazy shit. Not just I had a bad time in life. Out there, spiritual, weirdness, poltergeist level shit was fucking normal in my life, and I was I'm in hell. I was my pop, he was an alcoholic. He was living in hell. My mom's a narcissist. She's living in hell. I learned hell, grew up around hell, shit floating and hearing, voices in the fucking wind of the house, and just all types of weird shit, just weird shit all the time. And life carried on that way, continued to get worse. But that was the moment that I was I'm doing this. It's me. You've been doing it the entire time, but that was the moment. So nobody needs to teach you to manifest. How to direct your attention, how to direct your state. You might need some learning there, but that's a matter of embodiment as well. You can gain all the knowledge that you want. We talk about insights here. Gain all the knowledge that you want. It's what that knowledge becomes as it embeds itself within you, as you're downloading the information, how that downloaded information takes root within. So everybody wants to rule the world. That's what we were talking about. It's all related. I'll talk in a million different directions because it's all going to one place. So everybody wants to rule the world. Everybody wants their initials on the chains of your I am, because your I am is your exercising of the awareness that is the consciousness of the all that is. There's the all that is, and that is funneled down through way of an individualized experience of your meat suit, of your body, of what you choose to assign to your world by way of your I am. Your I am is you exercising that creative power of the all that is, but in a limited meat suit and a body. You're not experiencing the all that is. You're experiencing your attention and you're experiencing your state. So everybody wants to rule the world. The lyrics, every time I hear this, it just blows me open. It's my own design. I'm not a singer. It's my own remorse. It's my own design and it's my own remorse. That purgatory, hell realm, freaking living dead, night of the living dead corpse shit I was living. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. This is when we start looking for teachers for, well, what's my best friend have to say? Well, what's my therapist have to say? Well, what's my mother have to say? Because it's a lot of responsibility. Realizing I was talking about freedom with somebody the other day, and we were talking about, the dark and the light aspects of freedom. On one way, if we talk about liberation, by the way, if you have not done so already, subscribe to the Liberation Chronicle. That is free to you, and it is the written word of this platform, and you'll have direct access to me, yours truly, through that Substack community. Talking about the joys and the perils, and you shouldn't view them as perils, but what can feel like perils of freedom. Because once you're responsible for everything, we were talking about it in kind of across domains, like personal liberation, personal freedom, self-sovereignty. I'm a self-sovereignty mentor. Across business, entrepreneurship, your personal life, your internal emotional life. Like when you decide to be responsible for all of it, you're responsible for all of it. So while there might be a system in place for you to link yourself into and receive a certain amount of predictable things, if you decide that that's not good enough for me, that's not me living as source, that's me living as victim, I'm going to step outside of that matrix, I'm going to step outside of that system, I'm going to step inside myself and live as the source, live as the creator, live in harmony with the divine light of infinite consciousness within. You're responsible for all of it. So oftentimes that can be daunting. And once we feel the weight of that responsibility, we'll often then immediately revert to help me to decide. But then since I was a kid, I was like, that's saying something. I'm saying, I have a master's degree in blah, blah, blah. I have exercised the practice of that master's degree. I've met hundreds of people through the years. I've helped with probably most varieties. I've been, aiding, guiding, assisting in the treatment of as many mental illnesses and disorders that you can think of. And nothing has taught me more about life than, yes, my own experience, but if I am talking about things external to gnosis, self-knowledge, music, I have learned more about life through song lyrics than I have anything else. In terms of just the way the phrasing and the frequency have allowed me to put together meaning about my world being reflected back at me is what I mean there. So this has struck me since I was a child, since I was freaking wee one dealing with, demonically possessed freaking, family dinner, just crazy shit. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. That's what we all want. Ain't that what we all want? Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. That's liberation. That's living as the divine light of infinite source consciousness through the individualized expression of self. But we cling. But we cling, and we have to remember that nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the world. How do we make the most of freedom and of pleasure? Well, God, isn't that the eternal question? I say that you direct, intend, allow, decide, and let go. That's my answer. And that answer is changing every day. That answer will be communicated to you in different ways every day. Or, sometimes I'm daily on with these, sometimes I do one a week. It just depends on how the ministry flows. But yeah, help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. You stop looking outside of yourself. You be the freedom and you be the pleasure. You are the freedom and the pleasure. You're the freedom, you're the pleasure, you're the curse, you're the purge, you're the fullness, you're the emptiness. You're all of it. Because everything's happening at once. It's a matter of where you've tuned your awareness to, where are you paying attention to, and coming back to the space of, as Neville Goddard would say, imagination. As Yeshua would say, Luke 17:20, the kingdom within. Coming back to that, closing your eyes and knowing I am fulfillment. No matter what you're feeling, no matter what you're thinking, coming back to that space, coming back to the big chair within. Come back to the big chair. The big chair, that space of centered awareness on being and feeling. Not that you can feel being the all that is. I don't mean that in terms of quantifiable experience, but coming back to that certainty, to that knowing, and then allowing space for that expansion within that I am freedom. We're searching for freedom. We're searching for the government to give us a certain right to do a certain amount of things, or a certain, where you see all these posts on let's normalize. Like, fuck, I hate those. Interesting. And and I try to err on the side of at worst neutrality, because I believe everybody, again, all things are possible. So all people are expressing something relative to their viewpoint and their vantage point, and that's valid for them. So I never dog on other creators. I don't like to, I wouldn't say I'm too much of a critic of the world. Now, I'm not saying that I never have judgmental moments or that I'm perfect there. I'm just saying I'm never going to get on camera and as a message thing. Here's the thing. Isn't it funny? It's like I'm critiquing the critique. Isn't it funny that like every single one of the manifestation creators have the only way that you should do things? They teach the all that is, right? All things are possible, but they're the only ones who know the only way. I've been through so much stuff. It's beautiful. It's beautiful how many ways there are to conceptualize the same thing. I don't think I have, in the right way. I have a way that's working for me. And as that changes, I'll tell you about it. But that's what we want. We're waiting for somebody to give us, help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. We're waiting on somebody else to give us the freedom, to give us the right to give us the right to feel like we have time. We're waiting for somebody else to give us the right to feel abundant. We're waiting for somebody else to give us the feeling of clarity. You'll have a million red flags that somebody's not good for you, and we're waiting for them to tell us that they're done and they don't want anything to do with this. You get somebody who hasn't talked to you in a year, and we're waiting for closure because that's what's going to free us. You give it to yourself. You give it to yourself because you're the point of origin for all of your experiences. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Pleasure, prosperity, and pleasure and prosperity and privilege. And privilege, prosperity, what is it? I'm always saying, in privilege, prosperity, in pleasure, privilege, and prosperity. Yeah. That's like, the creed of my home. In pleasure, privilege, and prosperity. That's life. That's life. That's the only life I'm living. Doesn't mean negative things don't happen. It means that I don't accept those negative things as permanent. I don't accept them in the space of myself, in the space of my heart, in the space of my I am. I do not accept them as truth. I accept them as limited, separated aspects of an old state that doesn't deserve any more of my attention than the fact that it occurred. And if it requires some type of behavioral intervention, sure. And if not, you leave it be. A lot of things, 90% of the negative things happening in your life, you don't have to do anything about. We just have the idea that we have to do something about them, and then we wrap ourselves up in the frequency of it. And ensues helplessness, then ensues powerlessness, then ensues victimhood. Let it be. Just let it be there. Unconditionally allowed. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. You are you are the freedom. It's dry in here. I need a humidifier, but I hate the idea of that. You know, I had a humidifier when I was a kid, and I feel like, because I had pneumonia all the time. You look up what pneumonia means, Louise Hayes. I mean, if you think about your childhood illnesses, I'll tell you a little bit more so about, on a metaphysical level, more so about what you were going through, what was unprocessed through your childhood mind. And yeah, so I just associated with that. I'm like, I don't want to be over here like, oh God, it's dry, I need a humidifier. But anyway, maybe that would help me make more of freedom and of pleasure when being in my studio, freaking, hacking up a lung because I'm dry. Songs from the big chair. So wrapping up today's transmission, Ministry of Assumption Absolute, insights on expanding and elevating your awareness to create the life of your desire, taking a poetical look, a metaphysical look of the pop culture ministers of the 20th century, Tears for Fears. We're going to have some more lyric-based messages as things continue. I am excited. Thank you for tuning in and co-creating this moment with me. Remember, be good to yourselves and others, because everybody's just a version of you anyway.